Every single trader follows the same path through 5 distinct stages, but most never reach the end. Why? Because they don't know which stage they're in, and, more importantly, they don't know how to escape it. Knowing your location on this map, that is the only key to making progress.
And this really is the central question, isn't it? It's what haunts the trading community. Why do so many intelligent, dedicated people spin their wheels, sometimes for years, without making any real headway? Well, the answer is actually simpler and maybe more profound than you might think.
So here's the trap. Most traders believe the problem is external. A faulty indicator, maybe a flawed system. They're always chasing the myth of a perfect strategy. But the reality is, the problem is internal. It's a fundamental mismatch between where you are on the path and the tools you're using to try and move forward.
In this explainer, we're going to dissect that entire journey. We'll look at the internal conflict that every single trader faces. We'll walk through the 5 stages of evolution, give you a mechanical system for progress, and then explore that final identity shift that's required for real mastery.
So, at its very core, the whole journey of trading is really just an internal battle. It's a fight between 2 competing archetypes that exist inside all of us, the emotional amateur and the detached master. Let's meet Marcus. He's the amateur, and he's driven by feeling. He sees a chart move and feels this compulsion to act. He's always hunting for confirmation, chasing every little flicker of profit, and he's ultimately just controlled by the market's noise. But then there's Cryptosauro, the master. He's different. He's a creature of pure process. He doesn't react, he just executes a predefined plan. He doesn't chase the market, he waits, patiently, for the market to come to his specific conditions. One is a servant to his emotions, and the other is a master of probability.
Okay, so once you understand this internal conflict, that's the first step. Now let's actually map out the predictable path every trader takes to get from novice to professional.
Stage 1. We call this the gambling stage. This is that chaotic beginning, the state of what you'd call unconscious incompetence, where pretty much everyone starts out.
And the internal monologue of the gambler? It sounds something like this. The decisions aren't based on a system or some statistical edge. They're based on pure intuition, hope, and feeling. It's trading as a form of entertainment, not a business.
And the symptoms here, well, they're unmistakable. There are no hard rules, so plans are always changing mid-trade. Every win feels like you're a genius, and every loss feels deeply personal, which often leads to those impulsive revenge trades. The whole goal is the quick score, the jackpot, not the slow and steady building of a real skill.
So how do you escape this? It requires a radical shift in your objective. Your goal is no longer to make money. It is to build structure. You have to define one simple setup with exact rules for your entry, your stop loss, and your target. Then you execute it 20 times without any deviation. The P&L is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is your ability to follow the plan. That's it. Okay, on to stage 2, the system seeker. And let me tell you, this is the big one. This is the intellectual trap where most traders get stuck, sometimes for years. They've realized that gambling doesn't work, so now they're seeking salvation in a perfect system. And you know what the core belief is here? It's this thought. The trader believes the solution is external, some secret indicator, a holy grail strategy they saw on the internet. It's just a perpetual search for something that doesn't actually exist. The system seeker is basically an information addict. They watch countless videos, they try a new strategy every single week, and then they abandon it after 2 or 3 losses. And because they never commit to anything, they never collect any meaningful data. And without data, there can be no improvement. So, the escape here, it's not about finding a better strategy. It's about committing to just one. You trade it in blocks of 20. During that block, you become a machine, no changes allowed. After the block is done, you review the data and you adjust only one variable. This is how you stop seeking and you start building. Consistency creates data, and data creates improvement. And that leads us right into stage 3, the break-even trader. And honestly, for a lot of people, this is the most frustrating stage of all, because you feel like you're doing everything right, but you're still going nowhere.
At this stage, you've actually achieved discipline. You follow your rules, you manage your risk, but your equity curve is just flat. A good week is followed by a bad week that gives it all right back. It feels like you're on a treadmill, running hard, but completely stuck in the same place.
The way out isn't a new system. It's a much deeper understanding of the one you already have. Your edge is buried in your data.
You have to analyze your trade journal like a scientist. What do your best trades have in common? The time of day, market conditions, the specific setup? You have to identify your A-plus setups and eliminate everything else. You don't need more trades, you need better trades.
Now, after you've done that work, after you've refined your edge, you finally arrive at stage 4, the consistent earner. This is the breakthrough. It's the direct result of building structure, collecting data, and focusing only on quality. And at this point, trading begins to feel fundamentally different.
At this stage, you're having profitable months. You truly trust your system because you have the data to back it up. A single loss doesn't even faze you because you understand it's just one data point in a long series. Your job now is simply to protect this consistency.
And that brings us to the final stage, stage 5, the professional. This is the destination. This is where trading becomes the calm, methodical execution of a well-defined statistical advantage.
The professional, believe it or not, trades less, not more. They have extreme patience, sometimes waiting for days or even weeks for that perfect A-plus setup. Their confidence doesn't come from ego, it comes from spreadsheets filled with data. For them, trading has actually become boring. And that right there is the ultimate sign of mastery.
So how do we take this whole journey and distill it down into a practical system you can use like right now? Well, it all comes down to a few non-negotiable rules. This is the engine of progress. It's simple, but it's not easy. It forces you out of stage 1 by demanding rules. It breaks you out of stage 2 by forcing you to commit. And it pushes you through stage 3 by creating the very data you need for refinement. This simple loop, this is the path. And this brings me to a really crucial tool. We call it the safety net. Think of this as a hard, binary rule that's designed to protect you from your worst self, from your emotional decisions. It could be a daily loss limit, or maybe a rule against trading after a certain number of losses. It's the circuit breaker that disconnects your emotional brain from your trading account when you are at your most vulnerable.
Ultimately, graduating through all these stages, it's not really about learning a new technique. It's about undergoing a fundamental shift in your identity.
So let's break it down. The real problem isn't the market. It's our own ego and our addiction to action. And what causes that? An obsession with the outcome of every single trade. The solution, then, is an identity shift. You have to stop seeing yourself as some warrior fighting the market and start seeing yourself as a portfolio manager, calmly allocating risk only where you have a proven statistical edge.
And this is the mantra of the master. It is the final realization that you are not paid for your time or your effort. You are paid for your patience and your precision. The need to act is replaced by the wisdom to wait. And in that shift, everything changes. The question isn't whether you can find a winning strategy, but whether you can become the person who can finally execute one.